When I first started playing craps, I looked like this guy.
This is called random rolling, and you see the result. He shakes them in his hand, throws them, and hopes for result. I'm going to teach you how to set the dice and not hope for a result, but you'll know the result. Watch him again in slow motion. He has the dice in his right hand. He's shaking them. He's going to throw it. Here's the follow through. They're rolling like crazy. And the result's going to be pretty obvious. 6-1. 7 out, you lose. We're not going to do that. We're going to make money. We're going to dice control. We're going to set the dice. We're going to control them and win money. That's what I'm going to show you how to do in this video.
And did I have some good rolls? Yeah, I could have a good roll here and there. One night a month, I'd hit 2 or 3 points, and the next time, what happened? 7 out. I could never have a good steady night at the casino where I just continually hit 2, 3, 4 points every time I threw. So I decided to look at other options and started reading about dice control. And the idea of dice control, at first I thought it would be difficult to control dice. And I was right. It is difficult. So I got on eBay and I purchased a practice craps table, and I set it up in the basement and I practiced for about 6 months. And I continually improved and was going to the casino and winning money. And I thought, man, I want to continually practice this. So I ended up building this table. My wife loves it. It's big. But after I built this table and practicing, 30, 45 minutes a night, I could go to the casino and roll 3, 4 points every time and actually make money at craps. And that's what everybody wants. So, saying that, I'm going to go through and explain everything that I know about craps. So we can start with the position I'm at currently is called stick left 1. So this is the stick man here, and stick left 1, stick left 2 on my table. When you're setting dice, the best location to start with is stick left 1. It's the closest to the back wall, the shortest distance, and when you're setting them and trying to control dice, that's the object. You want to take them here and throw them to the back wall. One bounce, maybe about 6, 7 inches short of the back wall. Have them hit the diamond rubber and stay on axis, and good results. The stick left 1 I find is taken a lot of times at casinos, especially the casino I go to. There's other site controllers. So stick left 2 will work. If you're at home and you're using a practice craps table, this is about, on a 12-foot table, you're about 7 feet away, and on a 14-foot table, which is the majority of tables at the casino, in casinos, you're going to be about 8 feet away, so measure off 8 feet. Also, if you're using a practice craps table, this is about 27 inches from the floor, and this is 38 inches high. So to give you an idea of the rail and how high to set your table. Okay, let's go over and explain the different dice sets. The dice are given to you. take them, and the first set, and the set that I use most of the time, is the hard way set. See how I have 2s in front, 3s are on top, 5s, and then 4s. So this is the reason it's called the hard way set. Have all the hard ways. Have the one on the outside, 6. Another set could be the 3B. Just rotate this right one. And now you have the 6-2, 3-3, 5-1, 4-4. So 3B used for hitting 6 and 8. Another dice set, all 7s. Still rotating the right one. It's 5-2, 4-3, 5-2, 4-3. Pretty easy on your come out if you're trying to hit the 7. Set the all 7s. If you're finding that you're double pitching, which is you're setting the hard ways and you're coming up with 4-3, you're 7 out, that you can try a 1 rotation. So take the right die, move it 1 time, and now you have a 1 rotation. So you can go back tomorrow or the next day and get it in the practice table and start practicing again. Get rid of that. But while you're at the casino and you're finding that you're over rotating one of the dice, you can try, if you're double pitching, try rotate one time and see if that would help. It's another option, 1 rotation. So that's pretty much the sets that I use. There's definitely other sets that you can try, but these are the ones most successful for me. I want to hit the hard ways, I want to throw for the hard ways. There's nice payouts, and we'll get into the betting style later. So now you know which way you're going to set the dice. So now you have the dice set. You set them the hard ways, or you're going to do the 3D. All 7s, what have you, and the best way to find out what you're going to want to do is to practice and record your throws. There's spreadsheets on the internet. I have a spreadsheet in Excel that I use. It tracks all your throws and puts them in what you throw most often, what you throw least often, what you should be betting on. It's best for your style and results. So that's things to help, and it takes a lot of data to record that, but it's worthwhile. So you got the hard way set. One grip would be the 3-finger, and the way I do the 3-finger, I tap my fingers on the table first to get them. You want to make sure that they're lined up right towards the top with the dice, and you want to make sure that they're straight across. Keep the thumb in the middle, and that's your 3-finger. Again, if I just grab them, let's put the 5s on top so you can kind of see. If I just grab the dice without tapping them, get the middle finger down a little farther. So that's why it's important. I try to tap, get them lined up. Make sure you don't have any gaps in between the dice. That will cause them to go off axis definitely when they hit. So with the 3D, you want to get your fingers straight. I have some dice in my office, so if I'm on the phone or someone's talking to me, sometimes I just grab the dice and practice picking them up over and over. It's good practice, but in setting the dice makes it a lot quicker at the table if you know what to do. So you got your three finger. Make sure you don't have a gap. So get one, so set it back down. That's caused by not keeping the finger in the middle from your thumb. So get it good and straight, and you're ready to throw. I tried to take finger for a long time, and I had mixed results. So I went to I put my index finger right here. So you got your called one finger, obviously. Put one finger in the middle, one, and I use that, and it seems to work best for me. I don't have to worry about keeping all three fingers straight. You get your three fingers, one's off a little bit. It definitely influences the dice. So put them down about a little less than a third of the way down the dice. Keep your thumb straight. I don't have to worry about, like I said, keeping them straight with the three fingers. Other people use the middle finger. You can use either one, whatever you know. I use the index finger, but you can use the middle finger. Get them. Make sure you don't have any gap again. That's one finger grip. There's other grips. I'm not going to get into all of them. But the most common one, obviously, is the three finger. I see a lot of people use that, and then they use the one finger, and there's people out there that are using the one finger also. So practice. See what your dice, how they look like. If you have a video camera, videotape them in the air. See if they're staying on axis. And when I talk about on axis, I'm talking about making sure that they rotate like this. You want to keep them together. You want to keep them going the same speed. And hopefully end up with a hard 8. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm staying on axis. That's pretty much that's exactly what I'm saying. So you got your dice set, you have your grip, and now you're ready to throw the dice. It's your turn. So the dice come over, you get them, you get your hard way set. I'm going to go with my index finger. Set the dice. I'm going to set them down like this. I want to tap them down so they're good and flat. I'll make sure they're flat to the table. I don't want any gap. So just do a quick tap. Hit the dice again. Okay. Get my finger in the middle and do a little tap. Now I'm ready to go. I'm going to go back slowly and nice and easy follow through. So we get the dice stick man, they come over. We set the hard way. Have the hard way set. Put finger in front, and do one finger, thumb, and back. I'm going to tap the dice. I do that, I want them good and solid, flat to the table. I don't want any gaps. It's good practice to do this. Quick tap. I use the pass line as kind of a runway. I want to go straight back, straight forward. I want about 2-3 rotations backwards. If people out there golf, you get a little bit of backspin. It takes that big forward spin off. So think of the same thing with golf as dice. You get top spin on dice, or top spin on a golf ball. It's going to roll over the green. It's going to hit hard. Same idea here. You hit in control. hit the back wall, come to a stop, stay on axis. So the dice, I tap them, goes back, nice and easy. Hit the back wall, do it again, nice and square. It's a good idea if you can practice. I have dice in my office. If I'm on the phone, I get them. It speeds up the game. You get the dice right away. So when I'm at work, practice getting the set, the grip, do the grip over and over. So it feels good and comfortable to me. I know when it's right. Right, set them, back. Follow through. So one more time. Hard way set. Tap them. You want to straight down the line. Stay out of the bucket. You get random results hitting the corner. Try to hit the back wall. Go straight. Don't try to let it float out. And keep them on axis. And hopefully they end up on the hard way and win some money. Throw some dice from stick-on form. Pick the spot out that you want to hit. Straight back. Work on having 2 to 3 rotation. Chula. I'm going to hit flat, stop. Stay on axis. Oh, too much rotation on that one. I'm going to keep them together. Card 4. Oh, that was a good one. Nine. Five. One from the other. Sometimes it's a good idea. Use 2 different colored dice. So I have the blue one on the left, the red one on the right. That way you can tell which one's double pitching. You can work on that. The blue one kicking out to the left, get your fingers offline. So it's a good idea to practice with different colored dice. Try some those from stick right one. I use a different release. I still use the hard way, still have the finger, but I'm going to throw. Good. Together. Two, 3 rotation. I'm trying to go straight back every time I'm hitting the table. Straight back. Forward. Again. you have somebody else you can practice with, so they can get the dice out of the way, get more practice in. Record your throws. The guys I throw with, record them, keep track. We always practice 15 or 20 minutes before we go to the casino also, just like golf, going, again, going to practice green putting, hitting range balls. You want to loosen up, you want to get in your rhythm. You don't want to go there cold, and you don't want to throw too low, you don't want to throw too high. It's right up around 4, 5 in that area. It's like I'm still coming over at the right angle, so I'm probably about 2 feet away from the back wall. Just want to barely go over. Get you at the 45-degree angle. Whenever I feel like I'm throwing too high or too low, I just pull up the trainer. Quick throws, get back on track. Okay. Let's say we're at the casino. We get our dice, it's our turn. Let's put $10 on the pass line. Let's do $1 crap check, $1 yo. Just for insurance. Crap check pays $7. Okay, get the dice set. Ready, take it straight back. Forward. We roll the 10. So, what I usually do, I'll back it up. $5 on hard 10. Did $12. 6 and 8. We're ready to go. That's the hard ways. We threw a straight on hard 6. So we get $14. Go ahead and we'll pay ourselves out. We'll usually take one, and then after that press the next one up. So that's $14 there. Ready to throw again. Yes. Crap check and Yossi, so. Come on, hard 10. Okay. Come on, hard 10. Come on, hard 10. 4. Slide them down. We didn't win any money there. We didn't lose any. $8. Flip so you guys can see. 62. $14. So we'll just leave it up. Come on, hard 10. 5. Next 6 or 8 we roll, we're going to press them to 24. So come on, let's keep it going. Okay, card 10. There it is. I slide it. We can zoom in. Forward facing, yeah. That's excellent. That's what you want to do. The hard way. We had the hard way. $5. 8 for 1, so that's $35. $10 on the pass line. $10 behind, so it's 10 and 20. Pretty profitable roll. Here's how I used to practice on my practice table. I mainly want to work on rotation, landing, area of landing, and obviously results. I have the table, again, about 27 inches off the ground, from the ground. Same as the casino. I'm throwing 27 inches. And I'm about 8 feet away. Each time I throw, when I'm practicing, I'm writing it down, recording it. When I'm practicing, I do the same thing every time. Because I want the result the same as the casino. I know if it goes off this table, I had too much roll, so it works perfect. It's going to be random anyway if it rolls too far. So that one's boxcars. Come off the table. I want to stay on that table. I want to land a little short. One out. 10. There's snake eyes. And 5. Nine. 9. Two lines. And then hit the back wall. Short. 5.
So let's ask the question. Do you want to set the dice like the guy on the left, or do you want to be a chicken feeder like the guy on the right? I think that everything that we've learned today through this video will definitely improve your dice control and your dice throwing, and with practice, you should see results at the casino.
2 years ago, I was at the casino in Burlington, and I was watching this guy shooting dice and using dice control, and he ended up having a monster roll. And afterwards, I asked him to come over and talk to him, and he was telling me he's been practicing for a while now, and I told him that I had a table at home and that we should come over and practice. And he has one of the softest touches that I've seen from all people that I've seen throwing dice. And I'm going to have him go over some of his tips and what he does to practice to get better. And without further ado, here's Joe.
Okay, first off, I want to go through some dice sets with you. I know from my experience that certain dice sets will get certain numbers for you. And most important, it keeps you away from the 7 for a longer period of time. And that's pretty basically what dice controlling is staying away from the 7. Not actually controlling the dice to do a particular thing, except to stay away from the 7. There are several dice sets. Before I get into that though, when you walk up to a table, and it's a crowded table and you're going to buy in, you want to be a little courteous as to when you buy in. You want to buy in when the dice are in the middle of the table. You don't want to throw your money or anything out on the table when somebody's trying to throw the dice down the table, because mostly you'll probably disrupt their concentration. And concentration is a very big part of this. You have to concentrate on how you're going to throw it and where you're going to throw it to. So make sure that when you buy in, you be that courteous enough. And even if we want to be as friendly to each other as possible around the table, even if you're a don't better, we don't want everybody angry at a don't better because he comes up the table and just throws his money down, and they see he's a don't better, and then nobody likes him. But we're all in this together. We're trying to win money from the casino. We're not trying to beat each other out of anything. We're all trying to get money from the casino. Now, I'm going to show you some dice sets. First dice set, we're going to show you the hardway set, and that will give you the same numbers on each side of the dice, which is called the hardway set. So that when throwing the dice in this manner, you'll probably end up with more hard numbers than by just throwing the dice down the table. And the other dice set, you turn the dice one way, and it's called the B3 set. Now with the B3 set, you'll probably come up with the numbers that are showing on the dice, just like the hardway set. And the hard 6, and I have a yo, a hard 8, and a craps number showing. And a craps number showing on the opposite side of the yo. Now, with this dice set, you will get more 6s and 8s out of this dice set than out of the hardway set. Because as the hardway set is thrown, the dice are going to change positions somewhat. So you might end up with an outside number of 9 or a 4 in that manner. It depends on how the dice end up hitting the table. Now, there's another dice set, which is called a B4. They put the 2s so they're shaped like a V also. And that'll give you the outside numbers. So 4, you get 2 4s, 2 chances for 4s, and 2 chances for 10s, a hard 10 and a soft 10. Now the other important thing is you're going to have to keep track of your throws in practice. And if you have a good friend, when you go to the casino, you can keep track of your throws at the casino for you. See if you're doing the same thing at the casino as you're doing in practice on your practice table. I've been practicing for a long time, and the biggest thing is you have to work with your bankroll. If you come in to the table and throw down $100 on the table, and then you lay out $40 or $50, that's half of what you've got invested. And if somebody sevens out right away, then you've lost half of your investment. And you don't want to do that. You want to start out small, as you possibly can afford. So if I come in with $100, I'm going to place the 6 and 8 and possibly the number that we're looking for, the pass line number. So that's $17. Even that's still a lot of money out of 100 to lose. So when you want to keep your losses as minimal as possible.
How long do you practice at night?
Well, when you first start out, you should practice, if possible, 3 hours a day, just to learn everything that we're going to show you. You should practice at least 3 hours a day, the very minimum an hour a day. I'm sure everybody can find an hour a day to practice. And by doing that, you'll be able to get muscle control for throwing the dice, and there's all different ways to throw the dice. And you'll have to determine which is best for you. And the other thing is being comfortable. You have to be as comfortable as possible. You don't want to stand all crunched over or anything like that. Or you want to be at the table and be comfortable because you're possibly going to be there for a couple hours. And just standing in one position for a couple hours is really difficult. So be as comfortable as you possibly can. And now we're going to go through some of the motions of throwing the dice. First off, I'm going to show you one finger front grip, which is like this. One finger in the front and the thumb in the back. I like using the hardware set with the trees on the top, because I can get my thumb right into the V formation that the 5 has there, so I can see, looking quickly down at my thumb, that my thumb is pretty close to being in the middle of the dice, without fiddling around with it too much. You want to keep your finger across from your thumb as close as possible. You might find out that you're off one side or the other, and sometimes it doesn't matter that much, but you'll see that in practice, by moving your finger back and forth, your thumb up and down, different things happen to the dice, and you'll see what happens there. Now the second grip, because my fingers are big and fat, I use 2 fingers in the front. I still lose a lot of control with that. But I have to work with that control. I know that if I throw the dice 10 times, I'm doing good. And my 7 is going to come shortly after that. So I keep the 2 fingers in the front and the thumb in the back. And keep it as close as possible. Now what you'd like to get, if you have smaller fingers, is you get 3 fingers in the front. Trouble doing is I injured this finger years ago, and it doesn't bend properly. So if you don't have any trouble with your fingers bending, you get a 3-finger front grip, keep them lined up as close as possible together here, so everything's level and straight. Now we're going to make a throw here and see what happens. I'm going to start off with this one finger. And sometimes if you want to start your throw at an angle like this, or you play straight like this, or you keep them all the way back this way, as flat as you can with the table. So I'm going to start off with an angle, make my throw, and I come up with a hard 6. because you want to make the throw here, and keep the dice flat in line with the table, but still have a nice arc to it. You watch football, or I mean not football, but basketball, you'll notice that the basketball player has a nice arc to his throw to get the ball down into the basket. If he throws it too straight, it's not going to work right. Same thing happens with the dice. If the dice are thrown too low to the table, they don't have a chance to do what they're supposed to do. You want to get a slight backspin to the dice, not too fast if you can help it. But on some tables, a faster backspin helps more than a slow backspin. And of course, it's going to have to hit the back wall. Pit boss or some of the dealers, if you're not hitting the back wall, are going to say something to you. But when it hits the back wall here, these little diamonds here change the way the dice reconfigure themselves. And that's what they want to try to do. Get the dice to change around for you. So no matter if you're grabbing dice and racking around and throwing them down here, those little diamonds here are going to change the position the dice end up in. So you want to keep a nice arc to the throw of the dice. You want to go just beyond the pass line, maybe 2 to 3 inches beyond the pass line, because in some casinos, now on this table here, the distance between the pass line and the back wall is a little more than a foot. Now, some of them they're even less. They're 8 to 10 inches. But if you get too close to throw into the back wall here, it doesn't give a dice a chance to do what they're supposed to do. So you want to try to land them 2 to 3 inches behind the pass line and see what happens. Now, if you get yourself a receiving station, you can build one, or my friend builds them and he sells them. And also, we have what we call a height trainer. Now, with this height trainer, it enables you to keep the dice throwing at the right height. If you get them down too low, your dice aren't going to react properly as good. With the height trainer, it gives you that arc. Now you can move this all over on the table to different positions to get the right angle and height you want. About there, does good. Get a hard 10. So height is really important. The dice set is important. Just throwing a certain dice set all the time gives you a little more advantage over the house. If you just grab the dice and whirl them around and then throw them down, you don't know what you're looking for when they end up at the other end of the table. If you set a hardway set, if I throw these dice down, and I got a 4, I got a 3 and a 1. So I knew I threw one of the dice perfectly. The other one, it pitched over to one side and gave me a 4. So I know what I have to do to correct that if it was a bad number. The thing I'd like to point out to you is on the curve of the wall here, you must try to stay away from that curve, because it's going to, after you throw the dice, it makes the dice twist around more. So you want to try to stay out as close as you can to the flat part of the wall. But another thing is, because I got a big belly here, I can't reach out too far on a regular table. So I try to stay at the pass line, and I use the lines on the pass line to stay in the right area I want to throw it to. So when I release the dice, they should hit in this area, right behind this curve of the pass line. And after it hits the flat part of the back wall, it should come to rest somewhere in this area most of the time. We want to keep the dice as square to the table and the back wall as possible. And you might want to find that you're picking the dice up in this fashion and then throwing the dice to keep it flat. I like to turn them a little bit because after I throw them, I want them to hit the land as flat as possible on the table first. If they're not landing flat, they're going to fly in different directions. And we use the height trainer to make sure that you're getting the right height to your dice. So when you do throw them, they go high enough and you get this nice arc in there to finish your throw. And the most important thing, though, is to keep track of your throws. I pointed this out already. I'm going to do it again because it's that important. Keep track of your throws, and if you find that you're double pitching and you wind up with a 3-4 all the time, then you have to learn to make an adjustment on one of your fingers. Now, the other way to do that is to find another die of a different color so that you can see, get a different color up here, and always keep that die in the same place so that after it's thrown, you can see what the two different dice are doing. Now, if you've got a good, nice, even rotation on both die, you should be okay. But if one is leaning more or spinning too fast in one direction than the other one, you'll end up with other numbers other than the hardway set that we're setting on the dice. I'll make a throw here.
4, 3, 1.
3, 1. So the one die was running perfectly, and the other one rolled over to the side by 1 point, which gave me the 4, which is nothing wrong with a 4. Those are the numbers we want to get. We want to get those numbers. So if your dice is always doing that, then you should be okay. But what you really want is the dice to rotate around so that they end up showing a hardway number when you throw a hardway number, or hardway set. By using different sets, you can get different sets of numbers that are included in that set. If we change it to a V3 set, we'll throw more 6s and 8s than normal would be thrown by just throwing down the dice at the back wall. And if we change it around more, we can go to a V4. On this V4 situation, I've got a 9 on the back. If I'm looking for a 9, if I want to throw a 9, it's a good way to try to throw a 9. But you also will 7 out sooner than with a hardway set. Now there's another set that I use. It's called a super set. I don't know if you've ever seen this. In this set, you will get more outside numbers with this set. Once you get to a point where you're comfortable with throwing at your practice station or practice table, whatever you end up with, then you're going to go to the casino, and hopefully you'll have a friend go with you, and then he can keep track of your throws for you for, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of what you're throwing. So when you all get back home, you can look and see if you're still throwing the same numbers that you threw in practice. And if you are, then you're on your way to making some money. But I'm not going to say you're going to get rich from throwing the dice. But if you're going to go to the casino anyway and play this game, this is the best way to do it. Use a hardway set of some sort in order to get more of the hardway numbers that are there, and you can play those numbers. you end up throwing eight numbers up here, 4 through 10, and you can figure out what you throw in practice that gives you more of those numbers. All right, this part of the table will demonstrate my throwing technique. So you might end up with different throwing techniques, but you're going to have to practice and figure that out. Now, some people want to come way up with the dice. They can make a long throw, but I got long arms, so I don't have to do that. I do come back a little bit before I make my throw. I have a 9 out of that one. Four. But what you want to do is practice enough where you get comfortable with what you're doing, and you got to concentrate.
9.
9.
That would have been your point. You hit it.
Yeah.
9, 4, 9. Hard 6. Four. Six.
I'm on the other side of the table instead of going down to the other end of the table to show you that I can throw left-handed as well as right-handed because I am somewhat ambidextrous, and maybe some of you out there watching will be able to do the same thing.
5.
But all the rules still apply no matter which way you throw on the dice. I'm going to land just a couple inches behind the pass line.
3.
So because I know what I'm throwing, I can make an adjustment there.
9. again. 4, 3. 9. 6. I noticed your dice, when they hit the back wall, they just sit right there. That's the key. You don't want a lot of rolling and randomization. Just get them to stop right away.
Okay, well, I'll turn on the other end here so they can see that too now.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice.
The thing I'd like to point out though, all these dice are manufactured at a factory. Years ago, when I was first starting to throw dice, they were all made by different people, and the dice were sometimes crooked or oblong or some other way. But all the dice now are all uniform, and so you hear somebody call out, they throw a dice off the table, I want the same dice back. It doesn't make any difference because they're all the same size and same weight. But you know, your preference, if you are kind of superstitious, you can go ahead and do that. Now when I throw the dice, and see where I landed the dice, about 2 to 3 inches behind the pass line. That's what we want to keep doing.
Well, some of the tricks you kind of taught me, or some of the tips of putting a bowl, maybe.
Right.
If
you have trouble keeping in your practice, you could take a tin can, cut the top off of it, put something inside of it, like a sponge or some cloth where the dice won't bounce out of it, and try throwing that dice into that can just so you get used to throwing in the same area. When I was, my kids were little, we watched Bozo's Circus, and they had Bozo buckets. So you can learn how to throw into a bucket.
Hard 8. They really stuck together and went in unison very nicely on that throw. That's 8.
But the biggest key is practice. You need practice. And find time in your busy day to practice, because it's going to make a big difference when you go to the table and try to win some money.
How far away do you stand from your practice table? Did you measure it out?
I'm 8.5 feet away from my practice table, because the table I play at is 16 foot, and at halfway is 8 foot. So I want to be standing in the next position over, so that's another at least 1.5 foot. So I'm almost 9 feet away from the back wall, except with my right left hand, I try to get as close as possible, but I want to stay in the range that I'm used to throwing. I don't want to stand at 9 feet away if I'm used to throwing at 8 feet away. And I don't want to throw at 8 feet if I'm used to throwing at 9 feet. So wherever you're used to throwing at, you want to try to stay in that position. And the closer to the back wall you are, the better you are at throwing the dice light enough to where they're not going to fly all over the place. But if you got real long arms, you might not want to be that close to the back wall. I'll make a couple more throws here and try to think of anything else I can add.
Hard 6. Very nice. Got it right at the back wall. Any tips on any great betting strategies you have?
Well, the thing is, you can't overbet what you come to the table with. If you come to the table with $100 and you lay out all the numbers there, you're betting almost half of your bankroll at one time. Trying to rely on somebody not to 7 out within 5 or 6 rolls is really kind of hard to do. So let's say you come to the table with $100 bet the least amount as possible and still be able to make some money. You want to start out with the higher numbers that come up mathematically, or the 6 and 8. Once you learn how to be a controlled shooter, you can change that somewhat to be a little more 6s and 8s thrown, or 4s and 10s thrown, whatever. But until you know how many times you can throw the dice before you step it out, then you're just like anybody else. But I practiced enough where I know that my limit is around 10. I can make 10 throws before I step it out on average. Now, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But if I've got the dice and I've thrown 9 times already, then I know that that 7's coming pretty soon. So at that particular time, I'll bring down my place bet numbers and leave my pass line in hopes that I'll make the pass line point, and sometimes it happens. But if I would have 7'd out and left my money out, I've lost more than I've made. Because if I've only made a couple of 6s and a 5 and a 9, I've only made about $3 or $4. If I leave that money up there, then I've lost much more than I've brought in.
So in closing, it sounds like practice.
Practice is really the key. And if you don't have a practice station, my friend can set you up with a practice station. And the height trainer is very important. And he's got one of those for you too. And hope you can make some money at this.